Okay, let's get into this. We're looking at this ongoing opioid crisis across North America, and the impact is just devastating.
It really is.
I mean, look at the numbers in Canada alone. Over 47,000 opioid toxicity deaths reported between January 2016 and March 2024.
Staggering.
In some places, like British Columbia, the rates are incredibly high. We're talking 41 deaths per 100,000 people this year. These aren't just stats, they're people, families.
Absolutely. It highlights this desperate, immediate need for solutions that actually work.
And for a lot of people, buprenorphine has been a really critical medication for opioid use disorder, OUD, a real lifeline.
It is. But here's the major roadblock, the place where things so often fall apart. Just getting patients started on buprenorphine. Successfully started.
Right.
The traditionally, well, they're really tough. They often require patients to be in moderate opioid withdrawal first.
Which sounds awful.
It is. It's time-consuming. It's deeply uncomfortable physically and mentally. You're asking someone to feel significantly worse before they can start feeling better.
And that's where you lose people, I imagine.
Exactly. It's a huge barrier.
Yeah.
So many people just can't get over that hump.
Okay, so that really sets the stage. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really interesting case report. It's looking at a new way, a patient-elected approach for rapid buprenorphine induction.
Using low-dose intravenous naloxone.
Right. And the idea is this could dramatically shorten that whole difficult induction process, potentially really transform how we treat OUD.
Yeah, our mission here is to really unpack the why behind this. What makes it different? Why might it work better, especially now with fentanyl being so prevalent? What could it mean for patients? For hospitals.
Especially given those numbers we started with, the urgency is just palpable. This isn't theoretical. It's happening right now.
Precisely. And buprenorphine is so important because it's an opioid agonist treatment, OAT. Yeah. It's a partial mu-opioid receptor agonist.
Okay, a partial agonist.
Yeah, think of it like a key that fits the opioid lock, but only turns it partway. It eases cravings and withdrawal, but doesn't usually cause the full high or the same overdose risk as something like fentanyl.
Okay.
But and this is key, it binds really, really tightly to those receptors. High affinity.
So it holds on strong.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Which is good in some ways, but it's also a double-edged sword. If there's still a full agonist like fentanyl or heroin in the system when you give buprenorphine.
It kicks the other stuff off.
Exactly. It barges in, boots a full agonist off the receptor, and bang, you trigger what's called precipitated withdrawal.
And precipitated withdrawal is intense, right? Like withdrawal hitting you all at once.
Extremely intense, sudden, severe. And that's why, traditionally, patients have to stop using opioids and wait until they're already feeling pretty sick.
Right. That COWS score you mentioned, clinical opioid withdrawal scale, they need a score of what, 8 to 10? Mild to moderate withdrawal.
That's the standard guideline, yes, before starting buprenorphine.
But getting there, that sounds like the core problem.
It is. It's incredibly hard. First, it takes time. Patients have to just endure withdrawal. And honestly, a lot of people just can't do it.
Understandably.
So they might not finish the induction or they just disappear, lost to follow up. And think about an emergency department. You can't have someone sitting there for hours, maybe days, waiting to get sick enough.
Yeah.
It's just not practical.
Impractical and probably feels inhumane too.
And fentanyl just makes it all worse. We're seeing more reports of precipitated withdrawal with fentanyl, even when following the old rules. It makes traditional starts even riskier.
So, okay, providers knew this was a huge issue. They must have been trying other ways to make it easier, right? What else has been tried?
Oh, definitely. One common alternative is low-dose or microdose induction.
Microdosing.
Yeah. You give tiny, gradually increasing doses of buprenorphine while the patient is still using or slowly tapering their other opioid.
Ah, so they overlap.
Right. The big plus is you avoid that harsh precipitated withdrawal, and they don't have to stop using first.
Sounds good. What's the catch?
The catch is time. It often takes, 5 to 7 days, sometimes longer, to get up to a dose that actually works therapeutically.
A whole week.
At least. And in that time, again, you lose a lot of people. They don't complete it.
Okay, so microdosing helps with withdrawal but takes too long for many. What else?
Then there's the other end. High dose or macrodose inductions?
Going big, fast.
Kind of. The goal is to hit therapeutic levels quickly, maybe in 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes starting with a really big initial dose, like up to 32 milligrams.
Yeah.
You see this more in EDs or maybe even before they get to the hospital.
Faster. Okay. Limitations.
What's not for everyone? Someone's really sick, maybe needs to be admitted to the hospital anyway. It might not be appropriate. And we've also seen things like rapid one-day inductions to the injectable, long-acting buprenorphine, which seemed to work okay for fentanyl users.
Interesting. And I think I read about some rescue-type approaches, using naloxone first, then buprenorphine.
Yeah, there are a few case reports on that. One used a small IV dose of naloxone, 0.5 milligrams, basically to induce withdrawal quickly. CIWS went from 0 to 17 in 5 minutes. Then they gave buprenorphine.
Wow, okay.
Another had the patient use intranasal naloxone at home, 4 milligrams, then start buprenorphine. But like you said, the evidence is really thin, just isolated cases.
Right, which brings us back to this new case report we're focusing on.
Exactly. And the core idea here is pretty clever. Instead of just hitting someone with naloxone, you use tiny, precise IV doses to gently push the CIWS score up.
Incrementally.
Incrementally, exactly, until they reach that moderate withdrawal state needed for standard buprenorphine. The goals are, 1, limit how bad the withdrawal feels, and 2, drastically cut down the total time it takes.
Finding that sweet spot, like you said. Okay, so walk us through the actual case they reported.
Right, so this was a 31-year-old man, severe opioid use disorder, using fentanyl regularly. He came into a hospital after being found unresponsive, needed naloxone.
And his situation sounds complex. Drug screens showed benzos, meth, cannabis, cocaine, and fentanyl, plus aspiration pneumonia.
Yeah, quite ill. He was drowsy for about 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
His history, well, he supported himself through the unregulated drug trade. Smoked about 1 to 1.5 grams of fentanyl daily.
That's a lot.
A significant amount. 2 previous overdoses, both reversed with naloxone. He tried OAT before a microinduction of buprenorphine that he stopped after 3 days because withdrawal was too much. Also tried oral morphine and methadone briefly, but stopped for unclear reasons.
But crucially, he wanted to try again.
Yes, very clearly. He wanted OAT, specifically the long-acting buprenorphine injection. But, and this is key, he did not want a long hospital stay.
The patient-elected part. He wanted fast.
He wanted fast, in the hospital, but without being stuck there. So his preference really drove this approach. Okay, so they start. His CIWS score is 0.
Baseline.
Baseline. They give him 0.1 milligrams of IV naloxone, wait about 2 minutes, give another 0.1 milligrams.
Tiny doses.
Very small. Minimal change in his CIWS score. So they bumped it up slightly, 0.2 milligrams the fee.
So small.
Still very small. They gave that dose 3 more times, again, roughly every 2 minutes, so 5 doses in total. The total amount of naloxone, just 0.8 milligrams.
Okay, 0.8 milligrams total. And the result?
After about 10 minutes from the very first dose,
Yeah.
his CIWS score hit 13.
Moderate withdrawal.
Moderate withdrawal. They saw clear signs, really noticeable goosebumps, piloerection tearing, runny nose, yawning.
So the naloxone worked as planned, gently induced withdrawal. What next?
Immediately, they gave him 8 milligrams of buprenorphine naloxone under the tongue, sublingually, and he tolerated it well.
Okay. And his symptoms?
This is the striking part. His CIWS score dropped almost instantly to 12. Then, 30 minutes later, it was down to 5.
Wow.
An hour after the buprenorphine, he was down to 4. Then there was a bit of a pharmacy delay getting the injectable form ready.
Oh, logistics.
Yeah. So 125 minutes, just over 2 hours from starting the whole protocol, he got his 300 milligram buprenorphine depot injection.
Yeah.
And by then,
What was his COWS?
0. Comfortable. And
Yeah.
he actually said he was satisfied with how it all went.
That's pretty incredible. From 0 to COWS 13 and back down to 0, ready for the injection in just over 2 hours.
Exactly. It's rapid.
But we need the full picture. What happened after he left the hospital?
Yeah, this is important. He was set up for outpatient follow-up, but unfortunately he didn't attend his appointments. They tried calling multiple times, but couldn't reach him.
Right. That's a crucial reminder, isn't it? Successful induction is just one step. The journey afterwards is still complex.
Absolutely. But let's focus on the implications of the protocol itself. The so what here. The massive advantage is that speed.
10 minutes to get to buprenorphine administration.
10 minutes. Compare that to days for traditional or microdose methods, or even the several hours needed for macrodose or other rapid approaches.
You mentioned other rapid methods take 6 to 24 hours, even with a short hospital stay.
Typically, yes. This is significantly faster. It's not just shaving off time. It feels like it could fundamentally change the experience of starting treatment. Get people in the door before they change their mind, or use again.
And that's why this could matter so much for you, the listener, or maybe someone you care about. It tackles that huge barrier, the fear of prolonged, awful withdrawal. It makes starting treatment seem achievable, maybe, less daunting.
Exactly.
And for busy places like ERs, where time is everything. This seems like it could be huge.
Potentially transformative for those settings. It ensures you can start buprenorphine as soon as the patient hits that moderate withdrawal threshold, and then you see those symptoms decrease quickly. And crucially,
Yes.
it avoids that really severe, potentially dangerous withdrawal you get from the large naloxone doses used for overdose reversal. This is much more controlled, precise.
So yes, the patient experiences some withdrawal, but it's brief, it's managed, and it helps meet their goal of getting onto treatment quickly. That seems like a worthwhile trade-off for many.
It could be. Think about that Vancouver statistic. Only about 17–18% of people using drugs were willing to try buprenorphine, mainly because they feared withdrawal.
This could change that calculation.
It really could. Improve uptake, maybe reduce the number of people who fail during that initial induction phase,
Makes sense.
and maybe this becomes an option for people who just don't want the existing methods, who don't want to wait, don't want to do the microdosing dance for a week.
Opens up possibilities.
It even raises the possibility.
Yeah.
Could something like this eventually be used safely outside the hospital, maybe in an outpatient clinic, or even by outreach workers after an overdose? It could really expand access.
Okay. Lots of potential, but we have to be cautious, right? This is just one case report.
Absolutely critical point. N equals 1. We cannot generalize from a single patient.
So what don't we know yet?
Well, we don't know if this is actually better than the other methods overall. We don't know if it works reliably for everyone, especially people with long-term, heavy fentanyl use, given how tricky fentanyl can be.
So lots more research needed.
Definitely. We need more case studies for sure. But we also need real pharmacokinetic data, how the body handles buprenorphine and naloxone when used this way, and metabolism studies.
And bigger studies.
Yes, we need larger cohort studies, probably in EDs and inpatient units first, to see if it works consistently, how safe it is across different people, and how it really stacks up against microdosing or macrodosing.
You got it. So promising, but needs rigorous follow-up.
Exactly. But the core takeaway seems really clear. The opioid crisis just demands that we find ways to lower the barriers to getting people started on buprenorphine.
It's urgent.
It is. And this deep dive into this novel, patient-elected low-dose IV naloxone idea, it really shows significant promise. It directly addresses the problems of precipitated withdrawal and just how long induction can take. It offers a quicker, potentially more patient-friendly path.
So you've just heard how this really precise, very quick intervention could potentially open new doors for people struggling with OUD. It's a fascinating look at where treatment might be heading.
And maybe one final thought to leave you with. We talked about how many people are lost to follow up with the current longer methods. We know how much pressure ERs are under.
Right.
So if you have a method like this rapid, patient-driven SAC, what does that really mean for accessibility? Does it change how we even define success? Maybe success isn't just about getting someone stable in the clinic, but about meeting them where they are quickly and maybe improving that chance they do follow up, even if the first attempt wasn't perfect. Something to think about.